Panharmonicon presents a podcast.
I am declaring war on anybody who sells drugs in our community.
But Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community.
Dynamite! Dynamite!
Dun, dun, dun,
Dynamite! Dynamite!
dun, dun, dun.
Oh, you took it further than I thought you were going to take it, but...
Dynamite.
Okay.
It's dynamite.
Damn it.
Yes, sir. It is Black Dynamite.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you guys for listening in on another episode of Panharmonicon Presents
A podcast.
I am Damon,
And this is Farron.
and if we can get you guys to like, share, subscribe, we'd really appreciate it.
Greatly.
As you all know, you probably watch enough YouTube to know that the algorithm is king, and to become king in this algorithm scheme, you need engagement. So the more you guys like, the more you guys leave comments, subscribe, it lets the magic algorithm know that you are digging our stuff, and we'll show it to more people. And more people means more engagement with the rest of you. It means that we can do even more than we are already doing, which I have no problems doing more. But I'd like to know if you guys would want us to do more.
Yeah, definitely a lot of ideas and things that we're working on to bring you additional content, going beyond the podcast and truly offering up what feels like just a whole host of good stuff. Think of it as like a pyramid scheme that doesn't require any upfront capital from you. You know, all you got to do, you tell one friend, that friend tells a friend, that friend tells a friend. Next thing you know, you're just getting daily Panharmonicon Studios content. You eating every day. You eating good in the neighborhood.
Just to be clear, we are not a pyramid scheme.
We're not. I'm just saying we're not that at all.
It's an MLM, thank you.
It's a multi-level media.
Yes.
No, not multi-level marketing. We are not trying to sell you knives or insurance.
Yet.
Nope, we're not doing any.
We're not
of that.
selling knives. We're not putting our stamp, our logo on knives and doing
If we were ever
commercials.
to sell knives, it would not be door to door. You
Oh,
would
I'm
get
not
them
doing
from
that.
a store,
Oh.
and you would not have to buy the knives to sell to other people. We are doing Black Dynamite,
We're doing Black Dynamite
my favorite movie
of all time.
of all time.
I did not know that. I learned something new today.
I adore this movie.
It is an amazing
Ever
movie.
since it came out, I've watched this movie so many times that when you said, let's do Black Dynamite for the podcast, I almost could have just not watched it. But I still sat there and watched it and almost did it line for line, bar for bar throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
It is, I love this fucking movie so much. I should not have said that. I was trying to not curse before 5 minutes, but I love this movie.
And before we dive right into it, I know if you listened to the Fantastic Four episode, it maybe took a half an hour. Spoiler alert, just so you know, it's if you haven't
what?
seen this,
Black
just
Dynamite,
always
you
just
don't need
as
to be
a
spoiled. Black Dynamite is so good, I could spoil it for you and you'd still go watch it.
that's true.
You'd be like, oh, he spoiled Black Dynamite. I'd be like, watch it. I bet you'd be like, oh, it didn't matter that he spoiled it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It is Black Dynamite. What a fantastic... What does that movie come out? When did that movie come out? 2009?
2009.
2009.
And this upsets me. So, Black Dynamite came out in 2009, but it did not have a full release. It only had a limited theater release of 70 theaters.
70 theaters?
70 theaters. And I remember because when I saw the trailer, I was like, I gotta see this movie. Like it was such a fun trailer because the trailer doesn't. It treats itself as if it's a trailer for a movie that isn't what you're like. It's Black Dynamite, but like, so like in the trailer they don't name, like, it's not like Michael Jai White in Black Dynamite. It's I want to say it's like Baltimore Orioles All-Star or something. Like he's a Baltimore Colts running back, like Rashad something, but that's supposed to be Michael Jai White. It's as if he was like back in the 70s during blaxploitation, being in a movie just to be in a movie, and like nobody's named who they are. I think like,
he's a dude playing a dude disguised as another.
Yeah. Like Tommy Davidson is named like little Timmy.
Little Timmy.
And you're just like, this like is such a, like, you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, the instant this hits theaters, I gotta see it. And I remember at the time, I want to say AMC kept saying like they might get it, and I was like, well, what's happening? And then it just came and went, but it never actually came because it only got put in 70 theaters, and as a result, it had a $29 million budget, but its domestic intake from theaters was only $296,000.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I don't know if they outright just lost all the money, because I do recall it being for sale digitally. So maybe they just instead were like, hey, here's the digital sales for it. But to do that sucks.
What? I'm sorry. So do you know any more about why it was limited to 70 theaters?
Nobody wanted to put it in their theater. And it's like, dude. So in my opinion, I'm glad we're doing this, because I don't even know how many people have actually seen Black Dynamite.
Oh my goodness. Dude, that makes me sick. $29 million budget. And yeah, if you have not seen Black Dynamite, see Black Dynamite. Like Dame said earlier, we could be here for 24 hours going in through this movie with a fine-tooth comb, and you would still need to see this movie to fully experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, so that's just so sad to me, man. Like, what?
Yeah.
70 theaters in the whole of the United States. That is insane. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was kind of the same thing with Outlaw Johnny Black. I don't remember that getting a very big.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to get much of a release. I thought that was just going to be a straight to streaming sort of situation.
It took them like 6 years in addition to when it was originally supposed to come out, before it like finally came out. So, I'll give you just a quick synopsis on what Black Dynamite is. It is the story of Black Dynamite. That's it. So, Black Dynamite is the man's name. It is not a nickname that he is given. His name is Black Dynamite, portrayed by Michael Jai White. The movie is a parody, nod, homage to 70s blaxploitation films, getting a lot of its like probably direct inspiration from movies such as Dolomite, Shaft, and a number of the more like pimp-centric blaxploitation films.
Would it be things like Foxy Brown, Coffee, also kind of fall into that?
I think Coffee is another big one. There is one in particular, I wish I remembered the name of it, that is almost directly responsible for a scene within the movie. But the movie is about Black Dynamite. Essentially, his brother is killed doing it's turned out they figured out he's an undercover Fed during a drug deal, and he is killed. Black Dynamite wants revenge. It is a tale that goes from revenge for a brother to taking down a cabal-backed I shouldn't even say cabal. Like, this goes higher than a cabal.
Yeah.
It goes all the way to the top. And it is a scheme involving drugs made to shrink black men's dicks. You heard me correct in that we are originally talking about drugs as in heroin. We eventually get to drugs as in drugs that shrink black men's dicks.
Yep.
And it is a tale of trickery, of treachery. It involves the likes of the CIA, Kung Fu Island, the fiendish Dr. Wu, and
Kung Fu Richard
Ricky
Nixon.
Dick himself, Richard Nixon. And it is my favorite movie. And it will just forever be my favorite movie.
Yeah.
So what, I know we've seen it together.
Yeah.
And we've seen it separately. What do you think about Black Dynamite?
I love Black Dynamite, dude. That movie is so goofy. And it's such a perfect parody, I think, of where it came from. It's just a perfect parody of its roots, and it pays homage to it so well. Execution is just phenomenal. Even like the little bits they add in there with like the poor editing at times. I love that detail, dude, where you can see the mic that'll like hit him in the head, or there's even the scene with Bullhorn where he slaps the guy. He, like, instead of blocking, because typically when you're shooting a movie, you're obviously not hitting the person unless this is like Ong Bak or The Raid, but the Bullhorn slaps this guy across the face, and the person he slapped literally stops. He's like, motherfucker. And then they have to cut. And when he comes back, it's a different dude. It's a different stunt man. Like, presumably fired the other guy. And they just continue on with the movie, and no one. And the thing is like, why wouldn't you have just cut that out? The fact that you would have left that bit in to see that much of that scene unravel, it's details like that like, I love this movie so much, man.
Yeah, okay. And it's perfect because you see that in like those movies where you'll just randomly see like the boom mic because they didn't like frame frame things correctly, or like things like trying to like putting a car in park but forgetting to put it in park, so that it just like keeps driving, like it keeps moving after the person like gets out of the car. I don't think you see anything as egregious as like just a complete switch of the stunt man because the other one was about to start fighting. But you see that all the time in those like movies because they were made super cheap. Like, honest to goodness, like so many of them are out of California because the dude just happened to have a camera, and therefore they would just be like, all right, let's just start filming. It would be like us in high school if we had just a little bit more of a budget. That's what it would have been, the black exploitation.
We had like $15 more.
Yep.
That's it.
If we could have afforded that boom mic, it would have probably shown up in a lot of our.
And that's really, and it's funny you mentioned that because that's one of the biggest things, dude. Because I was thinking about like, you could have pretty poor video, but if your audio is good, it makes up for it. Like leading into 28 years later, I remember my sister, we were talking about like rewatching those movies 28 weeks later and 28 days later. And she went and watched 28 days later. And one of the first things she says to me is like, I did not remember it looking like this. And I know what you're talking about because it's kind of grainy. It looks older than what it actually is. And I think that if the audio also matched what the video quality was, it would have taken you out of it. And you just can't underestimate how important good audio is. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for real. And when it comes to Black Dynamite, it's interesting because they filmed. So the trailer was filmed using a Super 8 camera.
Okay.
But they used a different camera for the actual movie itself, but still tried to make it like that, like 70s green. And I don't think that's a filter. I think that was the actual cameras they used. But I'm also not sure because the frame rate comes across like too smooth sometimes, in that way that like a little like you ever like watch a movie sometimes and you can tell like how old a movie might be based off of like the frame rate. Like I know they're traditionally, I think they're supposed to use like 24 frames per second, but sometimes it might be like 48, and as such, like movement becomes a lot more smoother.
Give me a movie example that comes to mind for you there.
And when like frame rate changes,
where you feel like it's moving like half that. Because that just sounds like slow motion.
No,
but I guess like you.
Well, no,
like
I think movies are naturally supposed to be not 60 frames per second. And I think the reason for that is because, projectors and like TVs at the time weren't 60 hertz. So, like, I think traditionally it's supposed to be 24 frames or something like that. And then sometimes a newer camera might film at 60 frames. And so you see like a smoothness there that makes it feel like it's a so like in Black Dynamite itself, there are a number of times where it looks like it's old, and because it's also interspersed with like so many like cut-ins of actual like films of that time, sometimes it works, and then sometimes like the part where he's in his house and like the CIA shows up, where you can tell that there's just like everything feels quick, like not quicker, but like smoother. Because I think in film, when it comes to like frames per second, it's not about speed; it's about the smoothness of motion. It's not like 24 is herky jerky. It's just that you can tell the difference between a 24 frame per second movement and like a 60 frame per second movement. And I'm not saying like it's a good or bad thing. I was just noticing like that difference in the camera, because the original, like the trailer, is filmed like using a Super 8 camera. That being said, just going back to just my favorite scenes. So the very beginning is we're in just a random really we're just out on the street. It's not even a random alley. And the Don is doing he's not doing a drug deal. He's about to give his like 3 newest lieutenants some drugs, but turns out one of them is a undercover pig, as they say. And so the 2 dudes on the outside just immediately look at the 3rd dude in the middle. He just proceeds, and this is where it's like, oh, this is the comedy, this is parody. He looks at him. What kind of rundown is this? I told you, Jeff, I ain't no snitch.
He gives this very kind of like Shakespearean sort of like, dude, you would not, if you're out in the middle of Crenshaw, you ain't gonna be talking like that, man. Yeah. I am
no snitch. I've got to get back to the streets where I'm from, sucker. And then he proceeds to get shot down
immediately
after
gives it away.
Then eventually Adam West shows up as the detective.
I love the cameos, dude.
But so okay, so I know the whole movie is a joke, but there is a plot point to this jokery that kind of needs to be addressed. So Black Dynamite's brother is killed. He is killed by 4 dudes with revolvers. But at his funeral, a dude shows up to Black Dynamite with a bullet casing for what, after he gets with Saeed, is supposed to come from an AR-48, which isn't a real gun, but it's supposed to be like a super high, like a government grade rifle,
like not a revolver,
and not the revolvers that he got shot with. So it's so funny because so much of the plot afterwards hinges on this mythical bullet that had to be dealt with, like the CIA or the government, as they say, which eventually turns into the CIA. And then like his CIA buddy ends up saying that he ordered the hit, and it's like, but they had revolvers.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny that like that little and I almost wouldn't be surprised if that was also like clearly a part of like the parody of it all.
Yeah.
Because it's so apparent after you kind of like really look at it and think about it, like there's no way none of them were using that gun because none of them had rifles. But so Black Dynamite goes on his rampage tour, sort of. He needs to get some information.
You mean like after his brother
after he finds out that his brother's dead? Because it's kind of a period of time before he finds out that his brother has been killed.
Before that happens, though, one of my favorite scenes is when I think this is before he actually finds out that his brother was killed, but you're introduced to Black Dynamite, and he goes to this apartment, and he's looking for somebody. He knocks on this door, and he asks for Nipsey.
There's no Nipsey here.
The way that girl grandma says it, it's so cute because her voice is so mousy that you like. I think the average person would have heard it and be like, "Aw, like let me just walk away." So then you cut to a shot from within her apartment. She closes the door, and almost as soon as the door closes, it blows open, and she is launched back. I mean, fully launched. As if somebody had like a cable on her back and just yanked her, not because he took a battering ram, just because he kicked the door. He just kicked the door and blew it open like he had an explosive.
Then proceeds to walk up to her and mug her face and say, "Where's Nipsey?" And then Nipsey pops up. "Here I am, sucker." He's holding a bat. And then and it's at this point where I'm like, I'm so glad that this is a blaxploitation film, in a sense, done by a person who actually knows martial arts. Because I mean, I love Dolomite. I love like old school blaxploitation, but none of them dudes are martial artists.
Yeah.
So it's just a whole bunch of hoo-yah, ha, and just the goofiest looking fights you could do. But like here, everything's coordinated. Everything is done like with an actual like choreography team, a team who knows how to make martial arts look good. And so like even though you can see so many times where like Michael Jai White is still trying to like hold back and make things look robotic, it still looks good because it's fucking Michael Jai White.
Yeah. I don't think he can throw a kick and make a kick look robotic. Yeah. Every time he threw a kick in that movie, I'm like, it's the fastest thing I've seen. And
it's like it always looks like everything he did looked great. Yeah. And therefore like it raised the level of like quality. You're like, oh, this is like, cause as soon as he like has that fight with like Nipsey's like swinging and he's like moving out the way, grabs it, does a spinning back and it's like, oh man, this looks good. And he like spin kicks Nipsey through a wall.
Yeah. Through a wall, dude. Through a wall.
Then grabs him, like just leaves. And then he gets back to the house where all the saved hoes are.
It is something that I forget that those movies have dealt with, but the whole like the righteousness with which he stomps through the city and then he goes back and it turns out that he's also just kind of like a pimp. Is he?
He's not a pimp.
Oh, I guess they are technically
hoes.
That because there was that scene with I think Charity was her name.
Oh,
but he was like she cut him off like mid sentence later in the movie. Now I know I even gotta open my eyes to look at me.
Dynamite's gonna make everything all right.
He was so pissed.
No, you ain't even gotta look. She ass back to Crenshaw Peak with them hot ass coat hangers.
And then that close up on his face because it was like at that moment he realized he is snapped. And then he kind of like reverted back to another version of himself and his eyes, dude.
I like this movie so much. So he's training after he's dealt with Nipsey and he's heard about the smack being dealt on the streets from Honeybee, played by Kim Whitley, and he's now training at his place against just a group of martial arts dudes, some kung fu dudes, And he starts showing again that he's a martial artist, and Michael Jai White can make a scene look good. And then his Aunt Billy interrupts his kung fu, and he's told her how many times he got to tell her about calling there and interrupting his kung fu. Turns out his brother's dead.
Oh, Black Dynamite, your brother's dead. Like, remember your cues, Grandma. You're gonna say that, and then you're gonna give 2, and then you're gonna go.
Aunt Billy was like, no one really talked back. There were only 2 people really that talked back to Black Dynamite, and one was Aunt Billy, and the other one was that pimp at the pimp me. Everybody else kind of like just kind of understood that you don't mess with Black Dynamite.
Yeah. Fucking what behind?
She needed to really beat into him that he was supposed to save his brother. His mama made him promise that on her deathbed, that he would protect his brother at all costs. And here is his brother dead.
It also, in my notes, like there was something else I wanted to bring up, just in relation to that scene and so many others in the movie, are like its use of audio and like audio cues that again really kind of make this film. It steeps it more in that fucking sort of like primordial goo that we're already working with, man. Like, dun, 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 dun. Like after almost everything they say, sometimes you have this very dramatic, dun, 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 and then it comes down. It could be like the tiniest little bit of information. Black Dynamite. I stepped in gum. Dun, 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 dun.
All right, we'll help you out with that, little mama.
I'll hush now.
My daddy named Black Dynamite. My daddy too.
Hush,
Hush
little
up, little
girl.
girls. A lot of cats go by that name.
But dude, he that scene, yeah. There's no Nipsey here.
So, you see Nipsey. There's no Nipsey here. But yeah, so like I said, eventually he learns of his brother having been with some unsavory fellows the night before he was killed. He learns that from one of his I guess associate, best friend. I'm not really sure like who he is to Black Dynamite, but
Bullhorn?
Yeah, like Bullhorn is just there. Like I guess they're like best friends.
Yeah.
Like he kind of says something to that effect that like,
yeah,
when Bullhorn is killed, but like as it is, like I believe Bullhorn is also a pimp, but he also runs a nightclub. And it's there that he finds out that Cream Corn was with his brother. Cream Corn is a pimp played by Tommy Davidson, who... so he finds Cream Corn. Cream Corn is in a salon. Cream Corn proceeds to start running and is in platform shoes, but is outrunning Black Dynamite. And also, I don't know if you've seen Tommy Davidson. Tommy Davidson does not look like a man who can just stone cold jump over a fence with no like touching it. Just a running leap.
Yeah.
Clean over like a 6-foot fence.
In platform shoes.
In platform shoes.
Yeah.
In bell bottoms. Tommy Davidson. Now obviously it isn't him. They like intentionally like start throwing stuff over his face so that you can never see that it's Tommy Davidson. It's just, that's how it is. So he chases Tommy Davidson, who Cream Corn gets up to I don't know why Cream Corn got on top of a building, but they got on top of a building, jumped roofs to another building before he finally got caught, and he spills who the unsavory fellows that his brother were hanging out with. And it's here that we get to my actual favorite scene of this entire movie, which is the hip pocket scene.
The what pocket scene?
The hip pocket. So the Hip Pocket is a pool hall.
I didn't realize that was the name of it.
I can't say run, but currently filled with associates and one Chicago Wind. Played by, I want to say is Michael.
What is his name? But that was Bubba, right?
It's
from
Bubba
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
That was the cameos in this movie, dude.
And I actually kind of wish there was like another movie with Chicago Wind is like, for as short of a period of time he's in the movie, he really steals the spotlight for me. The way he talks, the way he like just like interacts and hangs, because for some reason he is allowed to, in a sense, sort of be like less 70 blaxploitatish in the way that he delivers his lines and talks, but it fits for some reason. So like Black Dynamite gets in there, and everybody's kind of just chilling, just hanging, and then they see Black Dynamite, and they all just turn. It's at that point Black Dynamite realizes that Cream Corn dimed him out, and that they were expecting Black Dynamite to show up. So they've got their pull sticks, and they're ready to like fight. But then Chicago Wind steps his way out from amongst them, and it's at this point that Black Dynamite says, "You must be Chicago Wind."
Oh, before he leaves the pool. Yeah.
Like that's why I just like I love the scene, because I love that, like, just that dialogue between the two. He's like, "Chicago Wind, I presume. Your presumptions are correct, nigga."
Dude, something I love about that scene is when the way it almost is framed as if he's like an equal, but like
that's what I'm saying. Like
it's so,
it's like he can't, he shouldn't be able to fight Black Dynamite,
right?
But it feels like he could maybe fight.
Dynamite. And so he has like just the fact that he has the confidence, whereas like so many other people kind of just like, no, right off the rip, like don't mess with Black Dynamite. But he tells off Black Dynamite, and I love this so much, where it looks like Black Dynamite just gives up. And so he just sighs, kind of shrugs his shoulder, turns around, and then one of Chicago Wind's
that's why I love the scene. He turns around.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
you better
right.
get
That's what you get for coming in hip pockets out all messy. He turns the sign around.
And Black Dynamite gets to the door, and he turns the sign so that it shows closed on the other side. And then in the middle of doing that, the henchman just he just comes to a crawl and stops. Yeah, mother, you better get out of here. And you
locks the door. And then immediately
finds out why you don't do that.
People start flying out of the windows. And then a really cool fight scene happens. He gets to show off his nunchuck skills. This is the scene in which Bullhorn shows back up, starts fighting one of the dudes. He says, "Oh, you a gorilla fed fool with a bunch of muscle mass? It's time for Bullhorn to get up on the ass."
And by the way, just so you know, Bullhorn says everything in rhymes.
Does.
Literally throughout the entire movie. I think with the exception of one part where he couldn't find a rhyme like quickly enough.
He shuts down.
And the look of defeat on his face when that happened.
And it's funny because you can literally see him sitting there,
like,
and now he's like trying to think of like rhymes.
I think you even hear him go, huh.
And then like Black Dynamite looks at him, like, because he thinks he's supposed to finish his line, but he's like, and then he starts talking, and you can still see Bullhorn in the back, like, maybe. But then Bullhorn like fights this dude, and then accidentally slaps him. He goes, "Motherfucker!" And then they just switch him out with
a dude that's like literally like 3 shades lighter than the previous stuntman that they were just coordinating with.
And then Bullhorn finishes the fight. And, Black Dynamite chases Chicago Wind in their cars. Chicago Wind is getting pretty high on himself. He says, "You find out why they call me Chicago Wind. I left your ass blowing in the breeze." please. And then he starts to say some more, but he realizes he's now on the other side of the road that he ain't supposed to be on.
Yeah. Like careened off the cliff.
Off of a cliff.
So there's a couple of things about this scene that I wanted to mention. One being, again, just how well they brought you back to the 60s and 70s with it, because the way that they shot the car chase scene and like the number of cuts that they have is so egregious that it is reminiscent of like how a lot of those scenes are shot, especially back then, to where like Black Dynamite is shown turning the wheel once and it cuts back and forth between like what's happening outside the car and then what's happening inside the car like 6 times. And within a matter of seconds, you're like, did it really need that many cuts? But it just kind of adds more like depth to the parody. And then also from that scene when Chicago Wind continues to talk shit, the fact that he's looking back, he's not looking in the rear view mirror. Like the way that the scene is shot,
full tilt turned around.
Yeah, it's like the camera is in the back seat, so you see it for what should be the back of Chicago Wind's head through the front windshield. But Chicago Wind has his head turned and he's looking back at what would have been Black Dynamite, and when he's talking shit, he's not looking at for a straight like 60 seconds. And like
full turnaround on the highway.
And you think he's gonna stop at a certain point, but then he just keeps going. He keeps going until the car drives off the cliff and, funny enough, blows up before it even hits the ground, dude. As soon as it goes off the cliff, there's an explosion.
I actually think the actual car scenes are from like an actual other 70s film.
Really?
It looks like it. I don't think they filmed that part.
Oh. Dang, that would be interesting.
In fact, there are a number of times that I think they use like I know there's like during the part where Adam West is like saying like, oh, you guys know who's this brother is. There are scenes that are like kind of interspersed in between like the scenes of Black Dynamite that I think are just pulled from other like blaxploitation films. And then the scene like I think even during like the cleaning up the streets part, like the part with the plane, I don't think I think they also got that from like
the part with the plane, or you mean when they're in the helicopter, or
when he was in the helicopter and then like the plane got blown up.
Yeah,
I think that was also from, because there's a whole there's an extended part of that isn't like when I originally saw Black Dynamite. There was a much larger scene of that isn't like, it's all truncated. I think there were like 2 different releases of Black Dynamite.
Oh.
There's like one where like essentially they chase the Don to the plane, like, and then like are shooting at it. Don gets in the plane, he takes off. Black Dynamite then comes in with the helicopter and blows it up. But so where was I? So after Chicago Wind, who I guess was also working with the Don. Don's furious at this point, and he wants Black Dynamite dead. Wants him dead now.
I want Black Dynamite dead, and I want him dead now. And then like the reverb.
And mind you, all of this has now come from the fact that his brother was killed, and I don't know how we got all to this point. So Black Dynamite is now trying to find some more information. He gets back to his place, and he has been tailed by the CIA. And he gets into his place and he hangs out. CIA sneak in, they think, and think they've come upon Black Dynamite, but they've come upon his stuffed bear,
dressed like him,
statue dressed like him, holding the newspaper. And he comes around the corner with his gigantic, like, Magnum revolver. Freeze turkeys. And they then proceed to have a little bit of a conversation. And it turns out that they just don't want him doing what he was already doing. Just fucking shit up.
Yeah.
So they tell him to kind of stay out of it. He's like, nah, I'm not staying out of it. And I think at this point we go to the pimp. meeting, and it's this scene that is pulled from another movie that I cannot remember the name of, and I've seen the scene, and it's eerily similar, but not without, but just without all the jokes. They are taking it 100% seriously, even though it was kind of funny. But in this scene, we have a number of cameos. This is probably where the bulk of the cameos come from.
Yeah.
We have John Sally. We have Brian McKnight.
Brian McKnight? I did not notice Brian McKnight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
We have Miguel Nunez. We have I hate that I am blanking on his name.
There's Bokeem Woodbine, isn't it?
Bokeem Woodbine
Yeah.
is there. We have the dude from Boondocks.
Oh yeah. Dude, wasn't Arsenio Hall?
Arsenio Hall is also in it. And it's funny because Arsenio Hall supposedly Cedric Yarborough.
Cedric, yeah, from Reno 911.
Yeah, and then Arsenio Hall. And according to Michael Jai White, Arsenio Hall signed on the minute that he read in the script that there was going to be a Captain Kangaroo pimp. And there is Captain Kangaroo pimp. So, and Oda Babatunde is also in this movie. So,
how did you do that?
what?
Just that incantation that you just uttered. I was looking at his name for the longest time. Like, how do you pronounce that? And you just said it, dude. Like that's like you guys have been best friends for decades, dude. Would you say this again?
Oda Babatunde. But so all of these people are pimps, and there's multitudes of the funniest parts of the dialogue. There's a much more extended part. That's why you probably didn't know that Brian McKnight was in there, because like he's in the scene, but he's in the background. But in the extended, he has like a whole conversation with John Sally that just kind of that isn't there.
Okay.
So they are all together because they need to figure out how to deal with the fact that the police have been kind of crowding them on, being pimps, selling women, and so they've been turning to drugs. Black Dynamite is not for that. So Black Dynamite shows up and he says he's declaring war on anybody who sells drugs in the community, to which Chocolate Giddy Up, played by Cedric Yarborough, says one of my favorite lines in the movie, Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community.
Bravo, dude. Bravo.
It is it's such a funny. Chocolate Giddy Up is just hilarious throughout the whole thing. But he says, be that as it may, if he or any of his people catch you all out there selling drugs to the community, you will not find him as a friend or foe, because Black Dynamite, while not being a pimp, doesn't necessarily have a problem with pimps.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's when they end up doing things that cause, like, say, one of their ladies to run away, that's when Black Dynamite takes them in. So, like, he doesn't have a problem with Crenshaw Pete. It's just that Crenshaw Pete used his hot ass coat hangers and was causing the ladies to leave. He may have a problem with Pimp and Jake, since he had Pimp and Jake in his car, but I think he owed Black Dynamite money. So, it's at this point that I wish they actually named him, because I don't think they actually named this specific pimp. But it says, "Now, can you dig it?" And he says, "Hell no, I can't dig it. And who you supposed to be?" And I would recite I can actually recite this whole thing line for line. I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that he decides that he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And then Black Dynamite says, "Hey, whatever, but if we catch her, it's going to be your ass." For some reason, you don't really see that Bullhorn is there, but Bullhorn is in there, and so is Cream Corn. In fact, Cream Corn leaves, and for some reason, I guess in one of their like outtake jokes. Arsenio Hall is talking, and then he just like stops because he sees Cream Corn leaving, and then he just resumes where he was going. Cream Corn comes upon Black Dynamite outside, and he says, "You know what? I've had kind of a change of heart. Sorry, I ratted you out. Your brother actually saved my life because I was supposed to be there with him that night that he got killed. Wasn't. So he leaves. So they're now a coalition. Throughout the midst of this, Black Dynamite has come upon a young lady by the name of Gloria, played by oh my goodness, gorgeous Sally Richardson, who is also, if you know, I'm gonna actually butcher a fucking name here. Eliza Mesa from Gargoyles.
What? Sally voices?
Mm-hmm. In fact, the character is sort of based off of her because she's Black and Native American, just like Sally, or just like Eliza is. So, who is a activist who has been going up against a congressman who I guess he's also, well, because he's part of the government. He's
part of the whole
he's part of this whole conspiracy. But he's a part of the more smack drug dealing part of it. He's been letting drugs get out into the streets where they've been getting to the kids. In fact, we don't ever really see any adult druggies in this movie.
That's a good point.
They're all kids. So the smack's going directly to the kids. And if there's one thing Black Dynamite can't stand is when some old jive ass sucker selling smack to the kids. And we see two of them go into get OD'd. One is
you say to go get OD'd?
No, I said we see two of them get OD'd. That also didn't sound so I don't know. I don't know how you would say.
Well, it just kind of was said in a way that made me feel like they were just going to like a Chuck E. Cheese specifically to get overdosed on heroin. Just like they have enough tickets, so that's the like
playing basketball all day. I finally got enough tickets to get OD'd.
Yeah.
So while he's been also dealing with her, he's also been dealing with the Black. I want to say they are the Black Panthers. They don't call themselves the Black Panthers, but in a sense, they are the Black Panthers. And it's during this time that another one of the very funny like outtake scene happens, which after he finds out where they are, and he just follows and walks right into the headquarters with them. One of the people who are acting is a person who read every single line in their script and thinks all of it is supposed to be in the movie. And so the first thing he says is, "Militants turn startled." And then he gets up and he turns around and he says, "How'd you get in here?"
I walked in.
I walked in. And then they kind of grill him a little bit before the actual leader of the group, Saeed, shows up. And then for some reason, one of the militants turns and says, "You know this, you know this, Uncle Tom?" And I got to give it up to Michael Jai White for this, like how he says what he's about to say, because he delivers it in such a powerful way that you actually like, you kind of like cringe a little bit, not in the cringe the way kids use it now and things are cringeworthy, like cringes in like actual like a flinch, because he says, like, he comes up to him and he says that he's blacker than the Ace of Spades and more militant than him and all his little lackeys put together, and that while they're out there browbeating politicians and having fundraisers, he's out there on the streets doing the real work. So when they're ready to start their so-called revolution, he'll be right there on the front lines showing them how it's done. But until then, they need to shut the fuck up when grown folks is talking. And he says it so impactfully that you're like, oh my goodness. And so the dude immediately is like, "Sorry." He like shrinks back.
It's also the way he says it, because like he he kind of steps in a little bit
He's like
as if he's going to
in his
rebuttal.
face, and he's like, sorry.
And it just comes back to the line. Like,
it's here we learn about the bullet that Black Dynamite has been chasing after this entire time, linking it to the government. So he goes back to the CIA, where he finds out that his brother's been working with the CIA because he wanted to be like Black Dynamite, who was a former Vietnam War veteran turned CIA agent who's out the game. Unfortunately, that means he also lost his license to kill, and so he shouldn't really be doing what he's doing. But they reinstated his license to kill because he's going to help them deal with essentially the very people they're working with. But he does that. They all kind of get together and they start cleaning up the streets. At this point, they come upon the ledgers that the congressman had, and come upon a warehouse that they think has got a buttload of smack in it. It does have some drugs in it, but for the most part, it is just a whole bunch of beer. Now, we didn't say anything about the beer because at the very beginning of this movie, there is what seems like an ad, and you think it's just an ad. The first time I first saw this movie, I thought it was just like an interjection, like an ad interjection. Yeah. And it's a commercial parodying Billy D. Williams' Colt 45 commercials, where in those he would be this like just kind of smooth talking black man who could get the ladies' panties without any type of issue as long as he has some Colt 45. The equivalent of Colt 45 in this is Anaconda malt liquor. And Anaconda malt liquor gives you, I said it gives you, and who else says?
Little Richard.
Anyway, so I thought that was just whatever. And then it comes back around. You're like, oh shit. Anaconda malt liquor is in this movie. Yeah. And
one of the guys just starts to drink. He just starts going in.
At this point, they've gotten a guy by the name of Gunsmoke who has specifically acetylene blowtorch, who has helped them get into the place with his acetylene blowtorch. And now he just starts drinking man.
You know what I find so funny about that scene is like they open up these crates and they're like, oh dude, this is nothing but Anaconda malt liquor. And Gunsmoke starts drinking immediately. But then they continue searching, and then Gunsmoke literally just bows out. You can see everyone else is opening crates, and then Gunsmoke just sits back and just starts drinking while watching everyone else work through these crates.
He drank a whole 40, and then as they were leaving, he got a bunch of like little ones, was drinking on them.
Like what?
This shit's incredible. He was like, man, how much malt liquor can you drink? But so. They don't understand why that is.
That was kind of feel defeated.
They feel defeated. It's at this point that they so it's at this point where Bullhorn has his little rhyme issue. He's trying to figure some shit out. But they eventually go to a restaurant where
a lot happens.
It's probably my second favorite scene, which is the deduction scene. Yeah. So they're there. They're trying to figure out just what happened, and at this point, Cream Corn asks for service because they have not been given service, despite the fact that they are all sitting around.
You see me.
And he asked for a whole bunch of different breakfast meats, but the lady says they
can you recite that?
What?
Can you do what he says?
So it is. He asked for 2 sausage links, 2 sausage patties, 2 hot links, split down the middle. Two slices of bologna. Fried. Once it domes up, flip that around, smush fry, and 1 waffle. And she says, "We don't have any breakfast meat. I can get you your waffles, but if you want some meat, I can get you some fried chicken that's been left over from last night. And it is at this point that he says, chicken and waffles. And throughout the movie, there's been kind of a probably F line story beat going on about the fact that it is clearly, there's supposed to be like 60s California. Roscoe owns a chili and donut place that's not doing so hot, but he's at this restaurant for some reason instead of his own restaurant, where he hears the chicken and waffles. Boom, we've got Roscoe's chicken and waffles. So
he literally gets the out of his seat like, that's it, and just runs out.
And then is where Bullhorn says, just get them some of them waffles and everything will be all right. And
man, you ain't never had no waffles like this. I mean,
it's like they come from down south. These buttery motherfuckers are melting your mouth, man. And at this point, Black Dynamite stops him and he says, Bullhorn,
that's it.
What did you just say?
That's it.
You said melts in your mouth. Quick. Now, there's been a blackboard behind them this entire time that had all the menu on it. He just brushes all that off and says, you said melt in your mouth. Quick. Now, what else melts in your mouth?
M&M's.
M&M's. That's right. That's right. And who makes M&M's?
Mars.
Mars Candy Company. Yeah, that's right. He says, and what is the astrological sign for Mars?
Oh, he's like, well, like what's Mars spelled backwards?
Well, no,
he says Mars spelled backwards. Drop the S.
Oh yeah, he says Mars. And what's Mars? Spell Mars backwards. Drop the S.
Ran.
And Ran is the astrological sign for Aries, who's the Greek god of war.
And who is the
Roman god of war?
Oh. Huh?
Is it Mars?
It's Mars.
Oh. Dude, I forgot because I know they're like all planet size.
But,
I got you. Keep going. I'm not gonna let you down again.
oh, you're fine. And so we got where were we at? The Greek god of war.
Yeah,
Aries.
Then who's the?
The Roman god of war was Mars. And that gets you to who's the Greek god of war, who's Ares. Ares' sister, Athena. Athens, which is the capital of Greece. And who in I'm not gonna remember the year. I wish I could remember the year. Was the Greek demigod of medicine.
Oh,
Asclepius, of course.
Is that for the staff? Yeah.
Asclepius had a staff. Snakes intertwining all around that bitch. It's called Asclepius' staff. The medical field uses it to this very day. I seen it. And what mythology involving both that is in both what story that is in both Greek and Roman mythology deals with Asclepius? It involves Asclepius' own father,
Melrose Place.
Apollo.
I did let you down.
Who slew the serpent at Delphi. And what is a serpent?
Serpent is a
big ass snake.
And then what's
the biggest snake in the world?
That's where the grandma eating chimes in. A South American Boeing anaconda.
That's right, lady.
I love how you feel so rushed as he's like come, all right, get it out.
That's right, lady. Anaconda malt liquor. And anaconda malt liquor gives you what?
Woo!
I said it gives you what?
Woo!
And who else is responsible for what?
Little Richard. Anaconda malt liquor gives you Little Richard. What's another name for Richard? And then they all look down at their crotches, and then they get up, and that's when they remember Gunsmoke.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the. Go ahead.
All right, so yeah, they get to Gunsmoke, and Gunsmoke is just kind of laid out on his couch. He's got Anaconda malt liquor all around him, and for some reason, and I don't know why, but his shirt is tucked up his stomach, and his pants are lowered for some reason, and just his dick is out, but it's extremely small. And they proceed to do a zoom cut.
Yeah.
Yep. 20 times.
It's kind of gross. It's kind of like it almost kind of looks like a little bit of popcorn chicken, dude, like some KFC popcorn chicken. And he's dropped it.
And he's like he's unresponsive, but he's like awake, I think. And Bullhorn.
Oh, that's right.
Him,
Yeah. Do you want to live?
I want to live. I said, do you want to go on? And he doesn't answer, and then eventually they shoot Gunsmoke and get him out of his misery. And it's at this point that they go back to the warehouse that they were at before to get rid of all the malt liquor. And it's at this point that Black Dynamite finds out that the CIA has been working with everybody. And he realizes it's a greater conspiracy, but he needs to find out who is the person responsible for the actual drug itself. His buddy in the CIA is the one that stopped him, but he uses the old birthday candle trick by pretending he got shot in the middle of the guy's monologue, and then shoots O'Leary right in his chest.
Which is such a interesting. Like, dude didn't hear it. There's no gunshot, nothing. Literally mid-sentence, Black Dynamite just goes, and starts following like down the wall and just sliding down, and then just shoots him. It's pretty nice.
And someone comes upon the radio afterwards, and it is fiendish Dr. Wu, who's the maker of the drug. So they got to go to Kung Fu Island. And they get to Kung Fu Island, and everybody starts to drop off like flies.
So, like, unexpected. I thought he was going to make it all the way through.
So many people died. So it's the two militants, Saeed, Bullhorn, Cream Corn, and Black Dynamite. They get there. It's so funny because you can clearly tell that they're like in California, and he's like they're like in a park or something. But and like he's like throwing grenades and stuff, and then they like show like images of like Nam or something. Like, people just getting blown up. But they make their way into a building. The militant who reads his entire script points out that he needs to pull up show his picture. Yeah, it's my wife. Yeah, we're gonna quit the.
It goes into that whole
revolution.
Yeah. I mean, this dude, which is funny because he hasn't really had many lines throughout the movie, but like that's when you know he's about to die because he's given his whole post-operation plan.
So sure enough, he dies.
Yep.
With like a spear to the chest.
Yep.
And
anyone want to see where that spear came from? And they shoot in a completely different direction than where the spear came
it's
from.
It's like you see the dude and he throws it straight forward and it like lands in the left side of this guy's chest and he goes, "Eee!" and he dies. And then Black Dynamite says, "Did anybody see that coming? I mean, did anybody see where that came from?" And then they all point off to the right and up. And then they run in that direction. And so I guess that must have been where it came from because that's where everybody is. And then they have a little like fight. Both Saeed and the other militant are killed off with shurikens, and then Fiendish Dr. Wu shows up. Fiendish Dr. Wu has a scythe that he can just throw, and it just goes to, I guess, whatever he targeted, even though he can throw it any direction he feels like. It goes off screen and then it comes back and hits its target. He does that to kill Bullhorn by cutting off his head. Cream Corn at this point has been hit with a shuriken, but it's just been in his hand. So I guess he bowed out of the fight after that. Black Dynamite and Fiendish Dr. Wu have a pretty cool fight, actually. It's a Wu family red scarf Red Silk Scarf, Kung Fu versus Black Dynamite Panther Fist. Black Dynamite gets the upper hand, and Dr. Wu runs away. He's getting his paperwork ready when he tells the dude to keep a lookout for Black Dynamite. Apparently, Black Dynamite heard that somehow, because he then appears and takes the dude out and takes his eyes out, and gives them to Dr. Wu. He says, "Who told you to keep an eye out?" Right. Needless to say, he sets Dr. Wu on fire after cutting off his arm by his own flying scythe.
Yeah.
Which he had thrown before he walked into the room.
I love that part.
And this is where he finds out that it's Tricky Dick. So he goes, him and Cream Corn take a helicopter from Kung Fu Island to Washington, D.C. So I don't know where Kung Fu Island is.
Yeah. But it seemed like they traversed so much to get there. Like, they were flying for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. But they make it. They get to the White House while they're still in the helicopter, and a Secret Service agent comes out with a bazooka and shoots it on the lawn. Black Dynamite jumps out, and Cream Corn is left to die by getting blown up by the bazooka.
And what that shot, dude, the way that it looks like he's falling, it almost kind of just looks like they just put a green screen behind him and told him to stand there and wave his arms like he's falling.
Cream Corn, no. So he kills a number of Secret Service, lands on the lawn, sneaks into the White House from some like random part that I hope doesn't exist, and switches out of his like black gear into like some more 70s-esque denim on denim. It is here that he comes upon Tricky Dick. Tricky Dick reveals that he has been a part of it, but he also knows Kung Fu because he's got some nunchucks. The two of them have a little fight, and Black Dynamite is getting the better of him. It is here that he goes to maybe lay a final blow on Tricky Dick, but Mrs. Nixon shoots the plate that he had in his hand and says, "Keep your hands off my China, you moon cricket." He proceeds. She is played by Nicole Sullivan of Mad TV fame.
You're now watching Mad TV.
Black Dynamite proceeds to backhand her so hard that she flies several feet.
Another scene, I just love that so much because it's like it doesn't look like it's going to have that impact at first. Like, it looks like it's a devastating backhand,
Mm-hmm.
but like the way that then it cuts and then she just continues to just kind of fall back. Right into the China cabinet.
Goes right into the China cabinet. That gives Tricky Dick some time to make a comeback. He then starts getting whooped again, so he grabs a random pistol, like a one-shotter, that's like sitting behind some glass. The ghost of Abraham Lincoln then pops up and does a little kung fu and knocks it out of his hand. And
the movie does before he even like chops the gun. It's so. I mean, the fact that the ghost of Abraham Lincoln is even giving you the assist, like this is MK1.
I love the fact that he like got up, like he was in the chair, he got up out the chair, did that, and then ran
sat
back
down in the same chair,
back to disappear. But he then proceeds to get whooped up on some more by Black Dynamite, who then tells him that he knows why Richard Nixon was trying to get all the information out of Watergate, because he had a whole bunch of pictures of him in like lingerie, and Tricky Dick didn't want that out there, so he makes a deal with Black Dynamite to keep the smack off the streets and leave his people be. Black Dynamite goes back to apologize to Miss Nixon, who says she didn't understand, like she felt she kind of deserved it because she shot at him. Mm-hmm. He says, this is true, but you did not connect.
Had you connected, maybe
what I did would have been more justified. She says, but you're so righteous. This is also true. Then he gets up and monologues a little bit before the movie ends, and we get the beautiful rendition of Black Dynamite, actually called Dynamite, not Black Dynamite. And movie ends. And it's still my favorite movie, even after saying all of that. and it will forever be my favorite movie.
I was gonna say that shouldn't change anything.
It did not. It actually made it more my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I got to share that with you guys. I really am. Hopefully one day we'll do your favorite movie. And you don't have to tell me what it is yet. I want to know like when we get to it. So we've probably held you guys up long enough listening to me rant about Black Dynamite.
I think we should talk about the sequel. Kidding. I mean,
yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Once again, please like, share, subscribe so you can get more of us. Hopefully, enough us, you could probably get some more Black Dynamite. I know there's a Black Dynamite cartoon, but
yes, I wanted to mention that as well, which is also awesome.
Yes, it is.
I want to revisit it now. Now you got me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do need to rewatch.
You keep sharing and subscribing. Maybe we would just kind of do each single episode. You can get so much of us that you don't ever have to be without us.
Exactly.
Ever again, if you don't want to be.
If you don't want to be. If you don't want to be, I want to see some comments going. So, once again, this is Damon.
This is Farron.
And thank you guys for listening to another episode of Panharmonicon Presents
a podcast.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks. See you on the next one.